So what I want to do today is teach you guys the simplest way to get your Chemex in the morning without spending a lot of time and energy on it, but still getting a wonderful cup of coffee. So what I did is, for a while I did measure out the grams and the exactness of everything until I learned, to eyeball it, to the approximations, and it still makes a great cup of coffee. So this is the Chemex. For those of you that are new, this is the filter. You want the 3 pieces by the spout so it doesn't give in. And then you want your water at about 200 degrees is where I like mine. You can get it up to 204, 205, no more than that, or it'll scorch the coffee. Any less than 195, and it just won't extract well and it just won't taste good. So what I did was I pre-soaked the filter to get rid of that paper taste and to prime the carafe, because if you put warm water in a lukewarm carafe, it pulls the heat and the coffee won't be as warm or delicious. So once you get your carafe primed, I just put about 1 to 2 cups in, and this is the 8-cup carafe, and then you're just going to discard that water. You don't need it. Just pour it right on out. And then you get your coffee. So I like to do a little less than half of a carafe. Really, for me, it makes 1 big cup of coffee. It's about 2.5 to 3 cups of coffee. So I have a tablespoon, and I do 4 heaping tablespoons of grounds. And this is Starbucks Cafe Verona ground medium coarse. 3, 4. All right, and then you want to shake it just a little to kind of even out the grounds. All right, now this is what I found through a lot of trial and error that is very, very important. First, you want to bloom the grounds, which is where you just kind of soak them a bit. And what this does is, so when you put the hot water on coffee, it creates gases. And the gases are what makes coffee bitter when they're not allowed to escape. So letting it bloom like this, it lets the gases escape. And you just kind of let it bloom for 30 or so seconds. No more than 45 seconds. And it's already starting to brew. This is what I gave up my Keurig and French press for this Chemex because I just can't stand bitter tasting things, but I love coffee regardless. But this is the best cup of coffee I've ever had. All right, so you get this little cave right here, this little indent. So you want to pour very slowly over the grounds. And you want to make waves in the beginning to make sure that you're mixing up the grounds and everything is getting saturated. And then you want to start moving very slowly in a circle towards the middle. So 4 heaping tablespoons of grounds. This is an 8-cup carafe. And my kettle holds 1 liter of water. And so what I do is I just fill it up to the max, and that tends to be enough. I use about, oh dear, my dogs. I use about 2 to 2.5 cups to prime the carafe, and the rest of it goes into making the coffee. And I still have a little bit left, but the thing is, if you do this long enough, you get really good at eyeballing it. And this little button here is what they call it, a button. I'm not sure why, but this is the halfway mark for the carafe, and I usually get just under the button or right on the button when I brew. And you really get good at eyeballing it once you do it enough. So just think 1 to 3 cups to prime the carafe. It just depends on how anal you are. Turns out I'm really anal. So I use a good amount of water to prime, and then I use probably about 3 cups, 2.5 to 3 cups to brew the actual coffee. And you want to let this brew. Honestly, it takes me no more than 2 to 3 minutes to get a full extraction. If you were to make a full carafe, obviously it would take longer. And you just let that keep brewing through. I usually let it sit for no more than a minute longer, just because you don't want the coffee to get to room temp. It's still going. I love this thing. People think, and even me, when I was researching getting one, people think it's so complicated, and I was a little intimidated by it, but I did a lot of research. But you know what? When it finally came and I started using it, I was like, this is so much more simple than I thought it was going to be, and I'm really happy with it. And it's a nice addition to my morning routine, because before this I had a Keurig, and it was, it was really quick. But I don't know, I lost the love of it, because I love coffee and I love the ritual of it. And this is adding more to that ritual, and I absolutely love it. I have a French press, but the French press for me is so tedious to clean. This is much easier to clean because my mornings are pretty busy. I have a 1.5-year-old. I'm a teacher. We have to get out the door pretty quickly in the mornings. So this is not overly complicated, even though it's not as simple as the Keurig, but I love it. I wouldn't change a thing. All right, so that is done. Now it's still dripping just a bit, but from my research that I did, you really don't want those dredges anyway. So you just pick it up like this, and I usually just put it straight into the trash can. We're just going to put it in the bowl for now, and then you give it a bit of a swirl. I don't know why. That's just what the experts say. And then, ta-da! And it's absolutely delicious. There you go. Simple way to Chemex in the morning.